I smoked my first weed when I was in class 5. I think I was in class. I woke up at 11 huko. And from that day, I told, I just said, you know what, Mr. Kikufuta bangi. But I didn't get born again.
You just decided?
I just decided I don't want to smoke bangi. I don't want to get into that life. And I even wrote it somewhere. You remember the day I showed you when we started dating?
Yes.
I still had it. And I said,
I think it's still there.
Yeah, we'll look for it. So I just wrote down, Nikasema, I'm not smoking weed anymore. But you know what? I did not accept Jesus at that point. So, after like 6 months, nikarudi pale.
So you stayed away from bangi for 6 months.
Yes.
After that experience?
Yes.
And then you still went back?
I still went back. And that is why, for me, the salvation story is the only change.
Yeah.
Like even alcohol, I also got another experience with alcohol. Like nilikuwa nishaanza kuvuta sigara, nilikuwa nakunywanga pombe sana. In fact nilikuwa tu nakunywa, nimefikamani nataka tu zile kali cause venye tu nasema you want to get to another level.
Yeah.
So when I had stopped alcohol for like 1 year, do you know why? Because I got TB. I got TB when I was very young because of smoking, because of alcohol. And when you're doing those things and then you get yourself into, like, exposed maybe to TB, immunity yako iko chini, then, it eats you up very fast.
Yeah.
So I got TB when I was very young. And it made me stop alcohol. So I stopped for like 1 year. But guess what?
You still went back.
I still went back. After hiyo 1 year nimepona TB, nilirudi tu kwa pombe. Kitu niliacha sasa ni sigara. So nilirudi tu kwa pombe na bangi. Like bangi hata sikuacha. Nilikuwa tu nakunywa dawa za TB, navuta bangi na naambiwa usivute cause your lungs. Niko like bangi na usiwacha. So after all that, after 6 months, I went back, and honestly, now the story, how I met Jesus, I was just told by someone, that one I'll tell you on the full testimony, I was just told by someone who told me about Jesus. Alafu hapo pia nilikuwa nafanya vituko, like, that story is just amazing. But I went to church, I received Jesus Christ, and I started walking the journey of faith. And let me tell you guys, in 2013, it was on a Sunday. A day like today was on a Sunday. 2013, on 15th September, I went to church from a club. Hiyo saa tu nilikuwa nimelewa mbaya sana. So I went to church. I went to sit on Thika Road. And the preacher preached and they asked if you want to get born again. Na mimi manze, alafu preacher alikuwa anasema, unaweza kuwa hapo hata ukijinusa hivi. Unasikia harufu ya pombe. Mimi niko like,
wamesoma mind yako.
Nikaa ni mimi tu anaambia, niko like, what? Wewe ni mimi nanuka pombe. But you know what? God is calling you. He wants you to get born again. Yeah. You know, funny enough, I'm the only one who got born again on that day.
For real?
Yes.
So he was actually speaking to you.
He was actually speaking to me.
Yeah.
And when I went to the front with fear, without knowing anyone that was born again, like sikuwa na mabishto wameokoka. Mimi nilisema
ulienda hiyo church iko karibu.
Nilienda tu hiyo church cause iko karibu na mahali nilikuwa naishi. Yeah. So I just went there and I went to the pastor, nikamwambia niaje mimi nimesikia message nataka kuokoka. Like alinishika tu mkono akaniombea.
It was so simple.
It was so simple and I went. And for me, nikitoka hapo walisema I go buy some material to read. Nikitoka hapo manze nilikuwa najiuliza nini imechange, like niliingia tu church nikiwa mimi, nimetoka bado nikiwa mimi. So what is this being born again, biashara? What is it?
Yeah.
So I got some material ya new believers that I started reading. As I was walking home, nilikuwa napenda kukaa sana. Mbona watu huko wanakaa hizo ma F word manini, like me I would always talk in curse words. Mpaka nilikuwa napata na msanii ananiambia Kabi ni tusi manze usibaya. I felt like it's cool. Nilikuwa najua kuongea mbaya ni cool. Unafaa kutukanana ndio ukae ni msimnoma. So hata ukiongea bishta yako unamwambia ni aje wewe unamwekea jina unamtusi. Like ati ndio like you feel like it's cool. So when I was going back home, I started trying to say those words. Inakata. Immediately I got born again, najaribu kusema majina tu zinakataa kutoka. And I was like, Allah,
an encounter.
Mine was an encounter. And when I went back home, I asked the Holy Spirit, come inside me. Teach me how to pray. Because I don't have anyone.
Yeah.
I don't have like a Bible study group. I don't know. I have anyone that I'm working with. But I told God, teach me how to pray. Teach me how to walk with you.
Yeah.
Teach me how to ask you for things. And guess what, guys? Manze nilianza kuomba immediately. I started seeing visions immediately. Alone. Because niliomba immediately. I started seeing visions immediately. Alone. Because nilikuwa nisha buy Bible. I remember immediately I heard about Jesus. The first thing I did was buy a Bible.
Yeah.
So nilikuwa nimebuy Bible. Mi nikaanza kupata ile story ya Romans 8:28 that you know that he's predestined us, he's called us, and those he called, he also, yani, mi niko like, he pre-qualified, niko like, me God, mimi msee wa dhambi, mimi msee wa madem, mimi msee wa pombe, like, msee mwenye ako so deep into drugs and all this immorality, unasemaje umeni pre-qualify kukua kwa kingdom yako.
Yeah.
And that was something amazing for me. I would not even believe that God akona haja na mimi.
Yeah.
Like sikuwa naamini eti God ananiita mimi. So when I went to God, I went with a lot of humility. And mimi nikaambia God, mimi the same energy niliset kwa world venye nilikuwa nafanya hizi vituko zote is the same energy that I want to get into this life of being born again. And I told God, you know what, I want you to use me. I want you to use me as a vessel because I was a vessel of shame. There are so many stories that you guys don't even know. There are so many things that I did that are so shameful. But you know what? When I got born again, I told God, you know what? Do not let this shame be the story that defines me. Let the story that defines me be a story of transformation. And that is why I became Kabi wajesus. Like immediately I got born again, like a week later, I went to Facebook and posted, I am now born again. Many people laughed, many said, you know what, Kabi wachana na jokes, because they knew me, they knew the things that I was doing. But you know what? God has held my hand up to this point. He's an amazing God. Like he's gotten me from all these evil things that I was doing to the person that I am today, to a family man, to someone who loves his wife, to someone who can inspire millions of people, thousands of people that are watching and can say, you know what, Kabi, I'm inspired by your story. So when I got born again and I told God to start teaching me things, I met a friend of mine and he's that I was not always Kabi